If you've been keeping your ears to the ground in 2025, you already know JID is on an absolute tear. But with his new album, God Does Like Ugly, he's proving that he's not just another talented rapper, he's one of the most important voices in the game right now. This is the kind of project that stops you in your tracks. It's not just bars, it's not just beats, it's an experience, a story, and a survival guide all rolled into one. From the moment you press play, you're drawn into a world where vulnerability meets sharp lyricism, where personal battles sit right alongside social commentary, and where every track feels like a chapter in a much bigger book. Let's break it all down. The themes, the collaborations, and why this album might just be JID's most defining work to date. The journey to God Does Like Ugly actually started before release day, with JID teasing fans through his Preluxe tape, a warm-up that featured big names like Lil Yachty, 6 Lack, and yes, even Eminem. That set the tone for an album that wasn't going to shy away from heavyweight features or experimental sounds. But when the full album dropped, it became clear this wasn't just about guest appearances. JID took every bit of momentum from his standout verse on Freddie Gibbs' Alfredo 2 and doubled down, bringing sharper songwriting, more intricate flows, and a tighter narrative focus. He's not just making tracks to sound good. He's building a complete body of work that demands attention from start to finish. The opener, YouUgly, wastes no time establishing the album's energy. It's brash, it's chaotic, and it's unapologetically confident. JID uses the track to flip the concept of black print into a celebration of black creativity, threading in everything from Fibonacci numbers to reflections on personal growth. It's a track that's both clever and cultural, setting the stage for what's to come. This isn't a surface-level project. The wordplay and layered references make it clear you'll need more than one listen to catch everything. And that's exactly how JID wants it. Music that rewards listeners who are willing to dive deep. From there, Community comes in as one of the album's hardest-hitting moments, not because it's aggressive for aggression's sake, but because it's fearless in its subject matter. JID tackles issues of gentrification, systemic inequality, and the idea of survival in a world that often feels designed to watch people struggle. It's the kind of track that shuts the door on voyeuristic takes of hardship and replaces them with lived reality. The beat is tense, the flow is relentless, and the message is crystal clear. This is a rapper who's not afraid to challenge listeners to think critically about the world around them. VCRs follows with a more surreal approach, a critique of wealth, media surveillance, and consumer culture, all rolled into one. JID uses the imagery of old technology to make a point about how the tools of control have changed, but the intentions behind them haven't. Then there's K-Word, which turns the concept of karma into something cinematic, almost like a revenge thriller in lyrical form. The pace, the storytelling, and the atmosphere make it feel like a short film told through rhyme, a skill JID has been honing for years. The spiritual centerpiece of the project is Of Blue, where JID blends poetic introspection with biblical imagery. Here, he's not just rapping, he's sermonizing in his own way, painting himself as a modern-day Moses, carrying the weight of delivering people to something better. The track balances vulnerability with a sense of mission, creating one of the most emotionally charged moments on the album. It's thoughtful without being preachy, soulful without losing that sharp edge, and it shows just how comfortable JID has become in merging personal reflection with grand, universal themes. But the album isn't all heavy reflection. Tracks like Sk8 bring a burst of Atlanta bass energy, perfect for summertime drives or late-night sessions with friends. Wholeheartedly shifts gears into an R&B-infused promise of loyalty and connection, adding warmth to the track list. And No Boo cleverly turns a high-end sushi reference into a playful, layered metaphor about past relationships. These moments of lightness work perfectly alongside the heavier cuts, creating a dynamic listening experience that keeps the album from feeling one-dimensional. As the album moves toward its close, JID continues to weave in personal narratives and observations with surgical precision. And we vibing and on McAfee experiment with mood and texture, showing his versatility. By the time you get to K-Word, and then the final track, For Keeps, the journey feels complete. For Keeps strips away the bravado entirely, leaving behind something raw and intimate. A memoir of grind, mistakes, gratitude, and relentless ambition. It's a reminder that JID's drive hasn't faded in the slightest, even a decade into his career. What makes God Does Like Ugly stand out is how cohesive it feels, despite its range. The production is rich, but never overbearing. The features are purposeful, and the writing is consistently razor-sharp. There's an arc here, from chaos to clarity, from struggle to a kind of acceptance, and you can tell JID was intentional about how every track fits into that narrative. It's rare in today's streaming era to get a project that feels this deliberately crafted, but that's exactly what he's delivered. In the end, God Does Like Ugly isn't just another release in JID's catalog. It's a statement piece. It's proof that he can balance mainstream appeal with deep artistry, that he can entertain while challenging listeners to think, and that he can keep evolving without losing his identity. For fans, it's a thrilling ride. For newcomers, it's a perfect introduction to one of the most important hip-hop artists working today. And for JID himself, it feels like a turning point. The kind of project that cements legacy while opening the door to even bigger possibilities ahead. Part of what makes this album resonate is JID's ability to balance his own life story with larger cultural themes. He's not just talking about his personal wins and losses. He's framing them in a way that reflects a shared experience for many listeners. Whether he's dissecting the cost of ambition, reflecting on faith, or analyzing the pressures of fame, there's always a deeper thread running through the music. You can hear it in how he shifts tone mid-track, moving from gritty realism to almost philosophical musings without breaking the flow. That adaptability is a big reason why God Does Like Ugly feels so layered and replayable. Another strength here is how JID curates his collaborators. Every feature feels like it's there to elevate the track, not just to add a big name. On songs where other artists join in, their verses or hooks blend seamlessly into the overall vibe instead of distracting from it. That's not an easy balance to strike. Too many albums feel like playlists of disconnected features. But JID has clearly taken the time to make sure each guest fits the story. The result is an album where the voices complement one another and the production adapts to each personality while still feeling unified. Looking ahead, the impact of God Does Like Ugly might be bigger than just its chart performance. This is the kind of project that builds cultural weight over time, gaining more recognition as listeners unpack the layers. It's the type of album people will revisit months or even years from now, catching lines they missed the first time. For JID, it's a career milestone, not just in terms of skill, but in showing the discipline and vision it takes to deliver a fully realized concept. If this is where he's at 10 years in, it's hard not to wonder just how far he can go from here.